Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And today, we're talking about a bit of news that came out recently. I think it was from the most recent roadmap video. That the next dockyard would be the Tier 9 large German cruiser, the Admiral Schroeder. Now, the Admiral Schroeder is a cruiser that is, again, it's one of the large cruisers, so it's going to have battleship burn time, going to be quite large, has a decent amount of HP, almost 60,000 HP for a Tier 9 cruiser. She's armed with 8 305mm guns, 20 128mm guns, and then 6 150mm guns. And this is going to be a secondary focused large cruiser. So of course it's German, so you get the German HE. The German HE pins on the 128s, which means that you have 20 guns on your ship that can pin 32mm of armor with their HE, which is of course great for dealing with battleship extremities, cruisers, and of course more than enough to do with destroyers. 32mm is the last major threshold in the game for armor, so having secondaries that can pin that is quite good. And then we have the 3x3 150s as well, and those can of course pin well above 32mm of armor and can get quite a lot of work done. Now, this video, the title of it is probably something along the lines of "It's time to fix this mistake, Wargaming," or something along those lines, because this is kind of the final confirmation that rather than give us back something that was stolen from us with the big Commander rework, they're rather just happy to just go ahead and release another ship that's going to be locked behind admittedly what has been so far a pretty decent dockyard event, rather than again correct the wrong that was done to several ships with the Commander rework. They'd rather just release a new ship, get us to grind this out, get us to spend our money on this, rather than fix what was wrongfully taken from us with ships like the Siegfried. This is again kind of them replacing the Siegfried. For those of you that don't remember, the Siegfried is a Tier 9 premium large German cruiser, of which you should be watching in the background right now, that is equipped with 6 15-inch guns on a Tier 9 cruiser, which, as you can see, are quite accurate despite my aim doing its best to make sure I don't hit anything, along with having quite a few secondary guns. As you can see, she has 128s up and down the side of her deck that, again, it's the German 128s. They can overmatch, well, not overmatch, they can pin 32mm of armor, which means, again, they are great for dealing damage to battleships, cruisers, and the like. And back in the day, this was a secondary cruiser, a very, very, very great secondary cruiser too. It's really funny if you look at the Siegfried and the Aegir, her sister, that was released at the same time. Aegir was the secondary ship, but then they went and they swapped it around to Siegfried being the secondary ship, and then they removed 2 secondary mounts on the Siegfried because it was a little bit too good at being a secondary ship, and then they were released like that. But the Commander rework came out, and cruisers lost the ability to build into secondaries. Not that many cruisers could even build into secondaries. There was, of course, secondary Hindenburg. That was kind of a meme some time ago. But Siegfried was a good secondary cruiser. Along with the 15-inch guns, that certainly didn't help. And the dispersion you're seeing on the Siegfried right now is with a main battery build on her. So the guns are very accurate when you build into them with the module. So even without the module equipped, you could run this ship with a full secondary build and still have pretty darn good main battery accuracy. Now, of course, you could mix and match the commander skills with the modules, and you could settle on one of several hybrid variations where maybe you didn't take the secondary module in the last slot, and maybe you kept the reload module in there. That's what I did. It helped with the guns, because when the guns did get a little wonky, who cares? You have a pretty quick reload time on these 6 guns, and it is still 6 15-inch shells. So, yeah, quite the heavy hitter here with the Siegfried. And then the Commander rework came out and that ability was taken away from the Siegfried, along with every other cruiser in the game, to now where if you want a viable Siegfried, you have to build into the main battery guns. There's not really anything else that works on the Siegfried. You could go with a meme lighthouse build. That's always good fun, but to have a a serious good Siegfried, you have to build into the main battery guns now, which took away from the variety you could have on the Siegfried, of course. And what's really the kicker here with this Siegfried is that this is a Research Bureau ship. This ship costs one of two things. One, a ton of time, or two, roughly $300-ish. Because you have to regrind lines in order to get this ship. That's how the Research Bureau works. You reset a line, you get Research Bureau tokens after you regrind the line, and if you time it right with the boost, at minimum it takes you, I believe, 5 times through the through the tech line that you reset in order to get this ship. In my case, it was the Harugamo line. The Harugamo line is the shortest line in terms of XP to reset, so if you're wanting a Research Bureau ship, that's the line that you should go for. Now, of course, when you have a YouTube channel and you have to get the ship on day one because you're not a CC, you gotta whip out the old wallet to get that. And that's how I know it costs about $300 to get a Research Bureau ship. So this is a ship that players either had to invest a lot of time or a lot of money to get, that was completely changed like that with one update. And this is just one ship, by the way. There's also the Shikishima, which is a steel ship, which takes a lot longer to get steel if you aren't part of one of the Super Unicum clans that, of course, always get all the way to the Hurricane in clan battles, or, those players that spend all their time ranked and they get all that steel. If you're an average Joe, like most of us, it takes years to get enough steel. I'm in a more active clan, of course, because it's, my clan, and it still takes me roughly a year to get enough steel to have a steel ship. And that's with using the coupon. Without using the coupon, it'd probably take a couple more months or so, again, depending upon what steel ship you're going after. But anyway, Shikishima, again, a ship you have to invest a lot of time in this game to get. A ship that has 6 20-inch guns, as I'm sure most of you know, but has a Harugamo sitting on either side of it. She has the Harugamo turrets that fire their shells at 1,000 meters a second, which means that they can base pin 30 millimeters of armor, which is good enough to deal with cruisers and destroyers, definitely, especially with the old secondary skills, where you don't have to wait for the secondaries to spool up anymore. But then they went ahead and the commander rework happened, the secondary skill changed, and now it takes 45 seconds for the secondaries to spool up, and the secondaries, even with a full secondary build and a fully spooled up secondary skill, still aren't anywhere near as accurate because of some other changes that were made in the process of standardizing the secondaries, except for the Germans and the American secondary line. They don't have their hyper accurate secondaries anymore. They did nerf those. If you guys remember back from the days of like the old Massachusetts, Georgia, and Ohio, where they absolutely were just laser pointers. Those days are unfortunately gone, but they're still plenty accurate enough. But again, not as good as they used to be. So that was another change that happened nowhere out of the blue. Well, I say nowhere out of the blue. It happened during the Commander rework. And again, another ship that took forever to get for a large part of the player base just changed just like that overnight to where, can't really build into secondaries on the Shikishima anymore. Unlike the Siegfried, you still can, but they're garbage, so now you're forced to build into a main battery tank build with the Shikishima, which isn't as fun as having a Japanese battleship with 20-inch guns with the Yamato hull that can actually push at medium ranges and be kind of good at it. Was it the best brawler? No, but it was nice having something that would absolutely melt DDs if they got close enough, and having enough secondaries to where you can set them on a cruiser, angle to the cruiser, and keep your guns on another target, and just watch them pretty much melt the cruiser down, because again, they're Harugamo guns on either side of the ship. Yeah, it sucks when a premium gets nerfed a little bit, some of the premiums that have come out that players buy, and then a few months later, one or two things gets nerfed, and you spend like $50 on the ship. It sucks when that happens. It really sucks when it happens to these resource ships that take forever to get, and it's not like it's a little change. Not like the Thunderer getting a little range nerf. You can still play the Thunderer at long range, and it's still one of the best ships in the game. For it, you can't even build into the secondaries in the Siegfried anymore. You can build into the secondaries in the Shikishima, but they're not as great as they used to be, not even anywhere near as good as they used to be. And these ships that cost you, again, either a ton of time to get, or in the Siegfried's case, several $100s, all ironically under the name of build diversity with the Commander rework. And now with the Admiral Schroeder coming out, it's kind of like the final nail in the coffin for the Siegfried, at any hope of that thing's secondaries being restored. And it sucks. It sucks. It really sucks that, after hearing, well, supposedly hearing us for quite some time, ask them to just return what was advertised on the ship that we grinded away for, that we paid for. This is the answer that we've gotten. It's not, here's this other premium for you to go grind. In a dockyard event. Again, the dockyard events are nice and all, but it's just, it sucks. It does. And Wargaming, I really would like the ship that myself and others, again, either grinded or paid for, to be the ship that we grinded or paid for, or paid for to get. I mean, yes, it's true. Siegfried is still a great ship when you build into the main battery guns. I still like the Siegfried, but I'd rather have the Siegfried that I wanted to get and that I had for a little while. And same with the Shikishima too. Shikishima is a great ship when you build into the main battery and the tanking abilities of the ship, but the secondaries are still nowhere near what they once were. So with the announcement of the Schroeder coming out, it just felt pretty apt to once again say, Wargaming, give me my Siegfried secondaries back. Give me my Shikishima secondaries back. They were advertised as those features. They're ships you have to invest a ton of time into the game to, and in one patch, you took them away and crushed our dreams of meme secondary Siegfried, just smashing W with two guys in a div and having fun running down a flank. So guys, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. If you're a fellow Siegfried enjoyer, well, a fellow secondary Siegfried enjoyer that has had their hopes and dreams crushed by the Commander rework, and now we're just being told, here, go grind this other ship out if you want your secondary tier 9 German large cruiser. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy the video. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. On our way to 40,000 subs. Can't thank you guys enough for that. Hope you guys have a great week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.